Hello, hello. Once again, this is the Family Life platform. Today, we're here to share what's in our hearts, and it's interesting because we have some guests on with us today. We were talking last time when we were here about a topic that we said was very interesting. We're going to talk more about it. When a man takes his truthful place, the nations will do well. So we bring it in different perspective today. We're just going to give a synopsis and then we'll start from there. So listen to this music, just for a few minutes, and then we all will come in and share what we are here for today. Thank you. Welcome once again. This is Family Life Platform.
This God, I've never seen your kind. This God, you do too much for me. Oh, oh, oh. I did wonder if my praise is enough for you. This God, this God, this God, I've never seen your kind. No. This God, you do too much for me. Oh, oh, oh. I did wonder if my praise is enough for you. Please God, oh please God. Everybody say, this God, I've never seen you come. Oh please God, this God, you do too much for me. Oh. I wonder if my praise is enough for you. Lift your voice. This God, this God, this God. I've never seen you cry. This God, I've never seen you come. You do too much for this God, you do too much for me. I don't wonder if my praise is enough.
Welcome back once again. This is the Family Life platform, and we're here to continue from where we stopped last week. So, like we said earlier, the topic we have is very interesting, and we are talking about men. Not mankind, as in man generally, but man, the male part of mankind. And we are talking about how important and how relevant, of a role they have to play, on the earth. And so today we are going to share shortly, and then we'll have other people coming in with from different perspective on how important it is for a man to take his truthful place. And I believe that the topic alone explains itself that truthfully, when a man takes his place, he understands his identity, who he is, allows everything to fall in place. And when things fall into pleasant places, then obviously, things will just happen as they ought to happen. And most of the things that are happening around us today will already be prevented because people who had the responsibility of playing their role was able to play it well. What's that feedback? So the first thing is that I said to myself last week when we were talking on this platform, I said every man must discover who he is because if he does, there are no limits to what he can accomplish. It is important that we understand that. And we went ahead and discussed from Genesis when God was creating man, how he took his time, did all of the creation, and then at the climax of it, he created man. And when he created man, he made sure everything that man would need, in the physical, in the natural, in the spiritual, he provided them. As much as providing food and everything, instructions, the work for everything for him to do, he provided them. Go and read Genesis chapter 1 and 2. You will see where God made sure he provided everything. He even gave instructions to man. He told man, hey, this fruit, this tree, I don't want you to eat from this tree. Woman was nowhere in the picture. He created the rivers that went into the garden that God had created to water the garden. He also put natural resources there like diamond stones, and gold and everything where man would be able to reap from to take care of himself and take care of, because he said, have dominion, have charge. He gave man the authority to have dominion and have charge of the earth. But he did not leave man alone. Okay, he gave everything to man that he wanted man to have. But the enemy, which is the devil, is aware how vital, the role of a man is. So he has managed to manipulate the role of a man, and man has not understood the fullness of, the role that he takes. How the nations and how the entire earth rely on his truthful place when it's, well executed. So gradually over centuries, man has minimized their role, and sh- cut a lot of shortcuts, and that has caused them to be limited. And that is exactly where the devil wants man to be, because he know how powerful and how relevant, man is, when it comes to the face of the earth. The next thing we discuss is that the discovery of who you are as a man is very important for your truth identity and your destiny. Because first thing, if you are able to identify who you are, how important you are, how powerful you are, how significant you are, how efficient you can be, how brilliant you can be, what are the things that you can accomplish. Once you identify that true nature that you already have, then your destiny is so easy to accomplish. So the enemy is aware of that, so he causes man to not be able to see that potential that is already given to him. Most time men highlight the power, the glory, and the authority, but he does not highlight all of those potentials, that God has given to him. And the other thing we discussed was that when a man takes his truthful place, he leads with clear vision, with precision, clarity in everything he does. Accuracy is a key when, a man understands his truthful place. He's accurate in what he's doing. He's not guessing. He's aware, he's informed. The ability to inspire, when a man leaves from that place, he's able to inspire, he's able to, reach out to others, and cause them to become creative. Okay, because man naturally is creative, because the God that created him is a creative God. So one of the things that we say regarding that in Genesis, when God asked Adam to name all of those animals, what was God depending on? Because God had already given mankind the intellect, the ability to be able to see anything, whether it was plant or animal, and give them a name. His role was so powerful, he had to name woman, the next part of him, because we will get into that on a later date. But that's how much ability that God gave, to man. Creativity is also key, as we said. He takes responsibility. Every man who understands his place takes responsibility. Cut across. When we talk about responsibility, that even in your limitations, in your shortcomings, in the places that you have failed, you are able to take responsibility, because that helps you to be able to overcome and forge ahead. He is reliable and he is dependable. When a man understands his truthful place, he becomes a very reliable person, and he's resourceful. His focus is also not just on today, but it's on developing the next generation. That is the key focus. His focus is on developing the next generation. The glory of your kingdom is the destiny of your next generation. What do we mean by that? Every kingdom, we said last week that on this platform, we said every man is a king, and a king belongs to a kingdom. Okay, and that kingdom is his family. Okay, so that's what we mean when we say the glory, of your kingdom. So the glory of your kingdom is in the destiny of the next generation. So your children, the way you raise them, The people that God has entrusted into your hand, because sometimes it's not just your biological children. There are more people that God bring around you for you to be able to invest into them. Your glory lies in those people, because the next generation will prove how well you were able to govern and invest, your all into them. That is your true glory. Okay. The power of your throne is the legacy and your successor. What do we mean by that? Every kingdom has a throne, and every throne has a power. And the power of every man lies in the next generation. And the next generation is also depending, which is his successor, depends on what he has done, the foundation of what he has done, which is his legacy. That thing that will speak for him in his presence and in his absence. Okay, mostly in his absence. Okay, people are able to point out this is what this person represented, this is what they stood for. But when we go and engage life, and we do not engage life from that perspective, that we as a people, or men as in general, knowing their place and knowing what to do, they have a plan. They are not just engaging life anyhow. Everything is about the plan that they have before them. That's the only way they can leave a legacy. Okay. And you want to read shortly about that, you can read from Proverbs chapter 16, verse 12. And I will read later on, before I turn over to my guest, from Proverbs 16 from 7 to 12. But I just want to give these points as we go on to discuss. Every man is a king for his own kingdom, and that kingdom is his family. So if he doesn't understand, a king carries himself a certain way. A king is a man, is a person who rules and who has a throne, who has authority, and he's just not there concerning himself. A good king does not concern himself with only the power and authority he has, but he concerns himself with the day-to-day running of that kingdom he has. He concerns himself about the well-being, okay, the material well-being, the physical well-being, the emotional well-being, the spiritual well-being of the people in that kingdom, which is his family. And it's important that our men begin to understand this. Okay. And every king and kingdom must have a plan. So most time, especially us, the women nowadays, every woman want to marry a rich man. Every woman want to marry a sophisticated man. Every woman want to marry a man who have arrived and everything. But I say to you, all of those things are temporal. All of those things can pass just like that. The only thing that is guaranteed in a man, when you're looking for a man, a king that will rule your kingdom, is a king that understands the time and the season, and a king that has a plan. Because if he has a plan, there will always be ways forward no matter the challenge that you are faced with. When he knows where he's going, what he's doing, you do not need all of those things, because they will fall in place with time. Okay? Time and chance is given to us all. So there will be time that man will begin to flourish, he will begin to blossom. So you do not take a man because you think that financially he is not, buoyant right now, so he is nobody. No, a man who has a vision and is clear, he has a plan. That's the man that we are talking about, and that you will find in Proverbs 16, verse 9. Every king has the ability to speak with divination. What do we mean by that? Every king has the ability to speak with divination. So he must speak with precision and must not go beyond the boundaries, because he has the ability to speak in the future. He has the authority to speak in the future. So he has to be very prudent with his speech. There's a caution. Every good king has to be prudent with what he speaks, because he is making legacy and he is creating and establishing the next generation. So if he's not careful with the words that he speak, he will speak words, and the words of a king is very powerful. So if he's not careful, when he speak carelessly, those words, are bound to come to pass because of the authority he has. When a king speak with divination, It helps him to not manipulate judgment. He allows himself to speak in the future, and because he knows that the future is very relevant to even the now, he does it precisely. He does it accurately. He does not go ahead and manipulate, even though he knows he has the power to do that, because he knows that it's wrong to do so, because he will be taking away from the next generation. And that is one of the things that is very common amongst us right now. You see that the older generation is eating into the next generation. The very legacy that they're supposed to be leaving for the next generation, they have managed to eat into the very fabric of the next generation, even though they are not making enough room for the next generation. So it is from this perspective that we've come to discuss, when a man takes his truthful place, the nations will do well. The nations we know come first. It starts from this small unit called the family, and then it grows into a community, a society, and finally to a nation at large. So, with this in mind, we want to open up to our other guests, on this platform so we can have a discussion about when a man takes his truthful place, what happens to the nation. I will now turn over to my brother to give us some insight because he is a man.
Okay, Patient, thank you so much for this program, and I'm glad to be here. And my purpose on today's program has been invited is to honestly look at the issues as raised and be able to propound my own view that will help our audience in whatever way possible and also help us all. The role of man in society. To discuss men, we have to be very holistic. What is the role of a man in a society? I will ask the question, what is the role of a man in a relationship? I will further ask the question, what is the role of a man in a home? What is the role of a man in looking at what God's decision was in the beginning, as you quoted from Genesis, the first book of life? Why did God create man first and not woman? We ask these questions, we find answers. But the world today, we all have refused to follow these biblical principles. The role of a man as created by God was to protect and provide. In the Garden of Eden, God created man and placed him in the garden to protect everything that was therein. At the time, there was no woman. So men had a very sacred role in looking at the garden as a society. Let's take a word today to be the society, the Garden of Eden, where we find ourselves after disobedience, everything has gone head scattered. Have we negated the fact that God created man, the first being, to provide, to protect everything that was in the garden? I would think the world today, we all are crazy and we want to do things as we feel. And so we forget these sacred duties that were assigned to man. So when you ask the question, what is the role of a man? I will answer by saying the role of a man is to protect and provide. Now, my question goes to the point where I feel before God created woman, all authorities was placed in man. And God brought in woman to be what? A helpmate. So what is the role of a woman? While we asking what is the role of a man, I will ask the question too, what is the role of a woman? A woman is to be a caretaker, a helpmate, and not to be the protector, and not to be the provider. Now, those are two harsh words, protect and provide. Now, guess from where you speak is that men are negating their role to provide for their families. Men are forgetting to provide, to protect the family in some sense. When you look at the activities of men and women today in the world, Everybody seems to be doing what they think best they can do for themselves. There are some women today who don't want that protection. They don't want men to take their rightful place in their lives, especially in developed world where everybody can work and make some money. It's only fewer women who take those roles very seriously. They will work and provide the money to the man. They say, okay, I know you're supposed to be providing, but here's my salary. I'm only helping you to see how you can provide for the home. How many women are doing that? These are hard questions, right? Women feel, oh, I make my money, I get my purse, I get my bank account, and fine, I'm a man for myself. But that's not the purpose. The purpose, as designed by God, was that when you get a man in the home, realize that man is there to protect and provide for your home. So even if you're working and making millions of dollars and the man is not working, take that salary home. Tell the man, look, this is my salary. I'm not even cashing it. Yes, Ed. What do you think we can do with it? Is that possible? That's a big argument. All right. So I mean, just to introduce it, I know you're getting anxious as the program continues, but I just throw in this word so that we all can know that this is a huge topic that you have raised, and there's no reason why we shy away from these activities. These are societal issues. These are issues upon which people kill. These are issues upon which people fight. These are issues upon which divorce cases are all around the place. So, what is the role of a man is a very sensitive question, topic that probably we cannot exhaust because I would want to look at it from a political standpoint. Why should a woman want to become president, head of a society? You want to raise talking about hard questions, they're going to be a very huge disagreement. But here, I would take it from the biblical point. When God created this world, He placed man first. Probably women, they all were sleeping in some corner in heaven. And God did not even think of you people initially. God knew that you had limited power, limited strength to protect and provide. So He said, wait a minute, I have a huge type. I need a society to be functional. And the only person responsible to do this thing is man. So He created man and gave all authority unto man. And later He said, okay, my man, you're working too hard. So I'll bring you a helpmate, a caretaker. So let me stop here and let's see how far we go with the discussion tonight. I'm here to discuss this issue as I best know it.
Hey man, I mean, it's a wonderful topic tonight, and to our viewers out there, you are all welcome. Um, we cannot exhaust the topic today, but we just try to do the best we can. And it is a very interesting topic, as you already heard from the rest of the people that are discussing tonight. When God created man, He gave him. I mean, the first thing God did for me, He gave him responsibility. In fact, the word of God said He made man in His own image. God is a God that takes responsibility, that is very creative. He's proactive. I mean, just name all the adjective you can think about. God is just awesome. And when He created man, He said, look, I have empty part of myself in you. And because of this, He spoke in Genesis. He said, this is the responsibility I'm giving you as a man. Take hold of this and guard it jealously. Because with responsibility comes a lot of things. Everything else you want to do, they are all tied in with responsibility. And so God said, you are responsible for the household. You are responsible for your family. You are responsible for the generations unborn. And we see that we are still suffering from what Adam did from the beginning. Is because he was endowed with the responsibility to preserve, generations, or to preserve posterity, we will say. So the first thing God did, God gave him responsibility. And God told him to also protect. When God brought Eve in, God expected him to shield her as the head. And God did not stop there. He made a special place. He said, this is the garden. I want you to work it. Be the provider. He didn't say Eve should work the garden. He said, Adam, work the garden. This is what you have to do. And all because God wanted to preserve posterity. I mean, the generations that will come, the generations after him. And so, if for me in our generation, in the generations to come, if they, for any reason, if they swap what God has already ordained for them, or if they decide to mortgage the headship that God placed upon them, they are destroying the next generation. Not only them, but they are also destroying the next generation. So there's a danger in doing that because you are not protecting, you are no longer taking responsibility, you are no longer protecting your family, and you are no longer the provider. In that case, so many other things is going to transpire. You're going to lose focus. The family is going to lose focus because we see in the book of Genesis, we see what happened to Eve. If he were taking his rightful place and he has done what he was supposed to do, communicating properly with Eve, taking his position as the head of the home, Eve would have known this is the boundary. This is what is required of me. This is what I ought to do. But he negates his responsibility, and at the end of the day, he brought total destruction and he brought death to all of us.
Can I interject right there, Madam
Go ahead.
Patient? You know, I like to read the Bible in a practical way, and I understand a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to disagree with Patient at all, for the purpose that who brought destruction in the Garden of Eden? If I may ask that, you might say,
Adam. Adam.
fine. But it
Mhm.
wasn't Adam.
It was Adam.
Listen to me.
Do you
Listen to
know
me.
why?
No, let me learn. You come in. And I'm glad that we have this interactive, right? If Eve that came to be a helpmate to Adam was very respectful to Adam, when Satan went in the garden and picked the apple and gave to Eve, Eve would have said, wait a minute, I have my husband whom I'm helping. Let me show this apple to
Can
him.
I
Let me see
help you
what
right
he will
there?
concern.
Can I help you
Let
right
me
You
there?
see
know,
what. Let
no,
me
wait,
see.
you know,
Just a minute. Let me learn. Let me
Land.
see what my man will say before I can eat this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she felt to be so powerful, she accepted. She ate the fruit that God has commanded them not to eat.
Mm-mm.
She was the first. And
Mm-mm.
after that, she said, what she did, she went and convinced her husband. The same thing you do today in this world. You're the women. The very thing you do. Want to take dominion over the home, want to conduct everything, and don't want to even wait a minute. I'm not saying all women now, I'm just doing a general discussion, right?
Yeah.
And don't want to be obedient to realize that men are responsible to protect and provide for the home.
you
So when
see
it comes
that?
to who destroy
We're
the world,
coming right back to what I said.
if Adam alone was in that garden would have been perfect, would have been in trouble today. But when
You
Eve
see?
was placed in that garden, Eve when Satan was in that garden, Satan knew he couldn't try that mess with Adam. He could not because Adam
No,
was too powerful for him.
please,
But
please.
because of the power of you women too, and I mean admit, you're the women, you get so much force and so much power, and
Oh
you
goodness.
have that control spirit that God placed in you people. So you decided to wait a minute. You started communicating with Satan. Why your husband is somewhere else? Another man call you on the phone. Let's look today. A
That's
man call you on the
you
phone, and
you
then you are
see,
there
you
calling and
see,
communicating and
this
doing
is
everything.
what we are talking about.
Can
If
I
you
find if sister to help you? Then you continue, please.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
beg
Sorry.
you,
go ahead.
my brother. We're talking about God giving instruction. First thing, read the
Mm.
Bible.
Yeah.
Eve was nowhere around.
Around.
I
So
said
true.
I
it.
said
Remember, I
that.
started with the highlights. She
Hmm.
was nowhere around when God gave him the instructions. God
Right.
knew exactly what he was doing.
I agree.
Now, Eve was disobedient to her husband,
Right.
not to
Thank you
God,
for that.
because God didn't give her any instruction.
Right.
Adam, was disobedient to God. And even to his wife, he was unfair because he knew the good and the bad God had already told him what not to do. So when she ate the apple, it should have been only her eating that apple.
I know, right?
He should not have eaten it because he received direct instruction.
To tell you are not even doing your work.
Yeah, so he did not take his place. That's
No.
exactly where we are going.
But there's something we call the
He
cause
usurped
crosser.
his
Listen, listen.
authority.
I mean, sorry, I shouldn't look like monopolizing this discussion,
No,
but
but we
You are not.
clarifying what you
Eve,
said.
Eve, Eve was the cause cursor. The first thing they command was, "Do not eat this fruit.
She was
You
not
can
there.
eat
That's what
all
we need
other
to
things.
Exactly.
establish.
Don't eat this."
Listen, why did God, if you see
She didn't have the
you know,
authority,
because
brother.
patience, because God expected him to take his responsibility as a man and protect and preserve. So when God came back, God did not ask Eve
He
because
asked
the
Adam.
responsibility to take care of that garden and to take care of the home was endowed with him. So God went right back to Adam and said, Adam, why didn't God say Eve? It's
The
because
reason, the reason, we all understand that God knew what He has commanded, but the command was what? Do not eat this. And like when you put food in the house, right? And one of the kids, probably you have four children in the house. One of the kids took the food and eat it. When you come back in the home, there is probably the other son or the other child in the home. Does that child going to ask, who ate this food in the
No,
Xbox?
that's not the instance.
no.
That's
But Eve
there's no
Eve
comparison with that.
Eve was the most
The
disobedient
only
person in
comparison
the
you can
garden.
give, you as
We're not
a head,
arguing about the
as a
disobedience
head,
because she was. She probably was, but then she probably was not because she didn't even know. So let me
She didn't
tell you,
know
that's
what.
why, listen, because she was not there when the instruction was given.
No, no,
no,
but
Okay,
let us
according to what the
understand
Bible
now.
said.
God gave.
Let me learn, brother.
Okay,
She was not even around. God gave that instruction to Adam. Okay,
okay,
whether Adam told her or not, Bible didn't tell her that part to say, okay, these are the instruction and the blueprint that I have. So that's that place we are talking about. The
okay,
blueprint that was given to men, they must be able to reiterate that blueprint. They must have a plan, they must have a vision. We talk about precision, and it must be clear. If
of
he
course.
has nothing, that's the only strength he must have. This is the blueprint, my family. You come to the table. This is how we want to do it. It's not law and gospel, but this is a plan that everybody fits in. Anybody wanting to go out of this plan, they're going to cause this family harm.
Mm,
So it is that place that he did not exert.
of
Okay?
mm,
And that's how come the enemy also knew the power that was given to him.
you
So he
saw
also knew that
the
Eve was
loophole.
nowhere around. So he could manipulate her because he know also she had power with her husband. So he used her to get that to him. But since he received the blueprint, okay, to whom much is given, much is
She says,
expected. So he was the one that's supposed to say, Eve, you have rebelled. I told you this, or probably I did not tell you this, but we were not supposed. The punishment today that mankind has received, he will not have received it. She was going to receive a punishment. Maybe we don't know what God' place is with that because we're not God, we're not speaking for God. But I believe when God came and he called his name and said, Adam, why did you? Because God was not looking, why God didn't come first when she just did it. He could have come. He didn't. It was after he broke that vow that
yeah,
was when God came in because the agreement and the instruction was given to him. The first instruction ever given to Adam, do not eat any fruit of this tree. He broke
exactly.
it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the place that I want us to build everything on for our men to
Yeah,
understand this place. We should not try to rationalize it because this is a reality. The women do not have that power and that authority over you because she doesn't have the blueprint for your kingdom. You have the blueprint. It's like the president. You take somebody and make them president or a king, and has no sense of direction, has no
mm-hmm.
blueprint. You
You
can
got no
spread it.
platform.
You can spread it, cut across. When anybody else coming in to that blueprint, it must be able to fit to the pillars that you have erected. If it cannot fit, you have to tell them no. We have to chip it down, we have to cut it down, we have to modify. It has to fit this plan. Anything other than what fits this plan is not going to work for us.
You
It
know,
can
you
work
know,
over there, but it can't work here.
you
So
know,
that is from that
patience,
perspective, we believe that man is definitely responsible
patience.
100%.
Yeah, Minister Patience. You know, with what Jensen is thinking, it's one of the mentality that today's men have, shifting blame, shifting responsibility, and it has gotten them to where they are right now.
Thank you.
You know, because
It's not
Adam,
personal. It's not personal,
no,
brother.
it's not.
It's a
Again,
societal
Yeah,
thing.
it's a societal thing. It's a societal thing. It's a societal thing we are talking about here. It's all over. It's not peculiar to America alone. It's in Africa. It's everywhere. Because even if you go to Africa, you see that the women they are working very hard. The woman will go to the market, she will do everything, sell, come, take care of the children, bathe them, feed them. The man just there passing around with his friends playing check up. At the end of the day, he go home, he go and sleep. But that's not God's plan for men. Like Patient rightly said, about the kingdom, you must have a blueprint for your kingdom. And Adam knew what God told him already. And when Eve came and brought that stuff and said, "Oh, this is so nice," and it was enticing, he should have reminded her and said, "Eve, then I warn you that God said," because of what God told him. Let me read that scripture in the book of Genesis.
yeah, read it.
Oh, yes. Genesis, that verse 15 of that Genesis 2. He said, "The Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it." That's the first step, to work it and to take care of it. If you are a man in your kingdom, you must have a, a job. You must have a business or something you're doing so you can be able to take care of your family. We're getting feedback, but we manage. And the Lord God commanded the man. He commanded the man. He didn't say the woman. He commanded the man. And
No more
he
than
said,
he
the
existing.
woman, God is so wonderful. The Genesis is so awesome.
That's the
Because
only thing we
there were
need to
even
go
some
by.
time, there's a secret between God and woman. When God put Adam to sleep, there was another secret that he told women how to get, how to manage them, but we'll not go there today because we're not talking about.
Please, please, please. Go to your point. Ah.
so,
Oh my God.
so God said, the word of God said in 16, and the Lord commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat from it, you will certainly die." That was the instruction to him. And when this woman came and brought that fine looking fruit, he was supposed to tell her, "Eat as a man in control of his home, as a man that have laid down the blueprint for his family to follow." And so that blueprint will bring prosperity. And that blueprint will, continue. And his children will continue the legacy. He was supposed to tell Eve, "Eve, this is the case. You know we cannot do it. I know you have eaten this already, but I forgive you." That's where he was supposed to play his role.
Just to help him, can you read the
Yeah.
next verse?
And the next verse said, the Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." So, God look at the whole thing and say, "Look, I will just factor and form this woman and bring this woman for you." First of all, that woman was suitable for him. If he had told that woman what God has said and he had instructed that woman, she would have paid attention because they were of one mind. God said they were suitable. That means they agree. Can two work together unless they be agreed? They had an agreement, both spirit and soul. So God looked at it and he knew this was the right woman for him. But in that process, of course, we are human, we do err. But it left with the man in his kingdom to bring the family back to the blueprint and say, look, this is where we are deviating or you have diverted. So we need to come back to the blueprint. That's the responsibility of the man in the home.
Let me just give a short synopsis.
Mm.
There may be disagreement, but I know it's a true thing
Yeah,
all across the nations of the earth.
of course.
The majority of families look in it, and you will find out the men relinquish most of the role and most of the responsibility. And majority of the men provide for their homes.
Hmm.
Majority of men cut across the world provide as in financial provision.
Hmm.
But when it comes to every other thing, he neglects it.
Mm.
He leaves the authority to the wife. She provides the spiritual covering for the home. The wife provide the social, the mentor, the everything when she should be guided in the process. Who is responsible for all of these things going on? They
In
still
fact, that the woman will call for a prayer meeting in the morning, not the pa.
he is the one that is breeding the next generation. How can you breed it and you neglecting your authority, as a man? So the authority is not announcing how much power you have. It's
Mm-mm.
how much true control you are in. It's how much work you are doing. Because
Yep.
when you do the work, you already command the authority.
Mm.
You don't have to say. The family will see the people who following you in your kingdom will
Mm.
fall in line. You don't talk. You don't speak. You just act, you just do because you are following your blueprint. And never a king must have a kingdom without a blueprint, without a plan, without a vision. And it must be clear. And the only way he can make that vision clear is whenever he has the opportunity to gather his family and say, this is what we are working towards. This is how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. I saw you today, patience. It's like my dad talking to me. I
Mhm.
don't understand, but we have decided, we as a family, we are not going to wear this kind of thing here because it's too revealing. It shows so much of you out there, and it doesn't speak well of who you are and where you come from. I'm
Because
not
you are a
trying to,
representation of
yes,
the
I'm
family
not trying
wherever
to
you go.
judge you. I
Yeah.
know you youth. I know you trying to exert your youth and all of that. But
Mhm.
this is what I want you to do. This is the blueprint that we have been talking about from the time you were born. How
Mm.
we must dress modestly. How we must do this. So you know what happened? We're going to change that particular trouser you wore today because it was causing problem. Don't do it again. Wear your trouser, let it be in moderation. Okay, you see, you my son. Then what you had done, you took your ear, you cut it, you put an earring there. I'm not forcing you, I'm not judging you because he's doing it not because he has authority. Take it off. Do that. No, it's in love because he bring them to the table, to that place of correction, and he will do it in love. They will follow him. The trouble we are seeing in the earth today, we will not see it because the man has taken their place. And
Mm.
this is exact. I'm so happy that my brother is on a platform with us. And
Yes.
some of the things he stated is just the truth. It's just the reality of how we see this, and it should be the other way around. And that is the place the enemy has kept us for generations. And we are in no women should never be in fight with a man for the place because she will never have that place. It was never given to her. There's nothing she can do to have that place. God gave it to her. But when you man decide to give it to her, she will grab it with two hands. And that's
And
what
pay
they do.
extra.
Yes. But when it comes to the mind of God, it's never the plan. But when God created woman, when he finally said, I'm creating a woman, I look here, I've given you everything. I've given you wealth. I've given you job. I've given you what you need, your family. I've given you a home. I've given you food, everything. But this cannot be completed without a woman. You need a helper. When the helper came, God put him to bed. That's why a man must take his time to understand a woman because he was not alert. All his sharpness, he was not alert when women were being created. He was asleep.
That's right.
So if he wants to know how he can deal with a woman, he has to channel it through God. That
Of
only God
course.
will awake.
Of
So
course. Go back
connects,
there.
when a man connects with God, he understands how to deal with a woman because he already know he has the power, he has the
Mm.
authority, he has everything given to him, he has the blueprint.
Mm.
So
I
God
see.
created a woman. Hold on, small brother. God created a woman. He said, "I'm creating you a helper."
That's right.
And a helper, for example, if somebody coming to your company to help you to do the job you are doing, the person must have the same IQ, the same ability you have, or more. They cannot have less. They cannot help you. because it will cause more problem for you. So people always say, oh, the woman is weaker. The woman is never weaker. The women are stronger than you can imagine.
Mm.
Even science will tell you a woman pressure could be 200 over 150, and she will still be walking. When a man pressure reach a 160 over 110, he could be almost, paralyzed. I'm just saying that's what science says. Okay, I'm not calling the exact figure, but what a woman physical, even her physical body can contain, can
That one they
carry,
do stronger than men.
a man cannot. So God did not make mistake when He made them your helper. If God had not put men in authority before He created it with me, the world would be in more trouble than you can imagine right now. God made sure He did not bring them in the picture. He kept them away, and He did everything. He invested His time and everything and instruction into man. Then He created this other man, but with a womb. Who gave her the name? It was Adam. God walking over and sleep. He looked. He said, "Oh my goodness, this person is like me, but it's with a womb. A womb man." That's how she saw a woman. She became she a female. Okay, a bone of my bone, a flesh of my flesh. So there is no distinction, there is no difference, there is nothing like you trying to make her lower than you in any way, because she is your reliable helper. She has a capacity, but when you do not take your place, the woman gradually just take the place. But she did not have the authority. She didn't have the blueprint from the beginning. So she might be leading the whole family astray. She might be leading the nation astray. She might be doing so many things that is wrong. But why is that happening? Because the man has gone away from his place. He refused to take his responsibility. And this is what the enemy wants it to remain so. Because the earth will remain in chaos.
You know
Okay.
what? I'm silent listening to the two of you.
Go ahead,
No.
brother.
That's the clear identity of Eve in the garden. And I guess Adam decided to be very quiet because Eve, I guess Eve was like the two patients sitting and discussing. So he just could not probably, because the first thing that I mean, this is a part of discussion, right? The way the
Jesse, you
two of
have
you
my
are
head
talking,
straight.
the two of you are
Jesus
almost
Christ.
like dominating the discussion, and I
And
enjoy
that is
it,
peace.
and Eve, Eve met Adam in the garden. If
Yeah.
Eve was very obedient, and when you even look at the punishment that God gave, God punished Eve more than
How?
Adam. You know, the
How?
pain you bear in this world cannot be compared to any pain that man bears. True or false?
No.
True or false? So the
No.
issue is
False.
looking at the okay, granted. The issue of the role of man. There's no debate. Even look across America today. If you look at the divorce cases now in America, it's very high. We
Why?
shouldn't go into that to discuss the issues now. What are the causes of divorce in America? But one of the primary reasons is complete disobedience and the understanding that women can be as equal to that of men. That is even now being legislated to the point where equality is measured, not to the point where men will be seen in the light of God's command.
And you see, it's because man
We
has
should,
relinquished that
no,
authority
no,
for
no, 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 no,
decades.
no, no. And now,
And the
now
very
you
same
said
people
something.
that
You said
discussing
something.
it, men are in a majority.
Yes.
Okay, granted, the reason why we are discussing it this way because we are not imagining those traditional days or the days of old. No one would tell me that Adam did not tell Eve the instructions from God because there's so much purpose in that garden was holiness. We shouldn't forget that.
Mhm.
The purpose of that garden was to see the presence of God in that garden.
Yep.
That God knew everything. It was like having a microscope of that whole place. That God knew what was going on in that garden every minute. It didn't mean that God didn't know that Eve has led them to eat the fruit that God has commanded them not to eat. The command was not only for Adam, the command was for the both of them. And not forget also that to have produced Eve was the right inspiration or inclination of God into that woman to create another being. Now we should not forget two beings were in that garden with the instruction of God how to keep that place. But let's face it. If for true, Eve was a respecter of the husband, Adam, in that garden, she would have first and foremost acknowledged the husband before eating that fruit. Now, there's
Okay.
something to say where the
I
manipulator
want
is.
to ask Jesse
I
one question.
cannot agree with you because there's no
Let
part
me
of the
ask you
Bible that
one
said
question, please.
that
Patience,
Eve.
patience,
Okay.
patience.
Mhm.
Jesse, I want
Yeah,
to know why Adam did not refuse the fruit.
you have said all of that.
No, I
This will
want to know
men the power
why
and the
do you
patient.
think he did
No,
not?
listen to patient, listen to patient, and patient. Listen to what she said. Men
Mm.
was wild, sleeping right when it took his rib bone and produced Eve.
That's
Meaning
what the scripture
there
said.
was some special force, some special talent, some special creativity in women that we men don't know. And women, you people control the
So she
world today.
used
The power that you
the
women
talent
have,
she used.
yes, the power
You
that you people
kill me,
have.
Jesse.
You even go to Adam now. Let's say, for example, just say now, yeah, and then maybe woman come from out there, just the way say you start to talk, even that the wrong thing you're doing. Very few men will resist, and even when men decided to resist to the extent of saying no, Adam, Eve, get wait a minute, God has commanded not to eat this fruit. Let's just imagine what Eve told Adam. Because don't let them forget, Satan has already told Eve, when you eat this thing, you'll be smarter than what God has said or commanded you. So let's just imagine that trend between Eve. I know it wasn't just taking the fruit and eat it. Adam would have said, but Eve, wait a minute, God has said, when I eat this fruit, why you eat it in the first place? Imagine her response. You are
But,
women, and you know yourself.
but see the time he was
Okay,
telling her.
we want to take some questions. We want to take some comments from our viewers. Let
Yeah.
me
Okay,
put
so,
it
so let me just go through.
Lane, Jesse, then we can continue with the
Okay,
questions and the
all right,
comments.
all right. So the issue I was talking about as we discussed the role of men, we're looking at society in general. And I like the way patients say, every president, we agree to the platform, the structure, the design, whatever you call it. There's a reason why men should take their rightful place, which I agree. And that's why the topic is important. I'm only emphasizing some reasons why society break down, why those things happened yesterday. Because of disobedience, that's the primary reason today that we might not agree with,
We
but
agree
it
with it.
really,
It's just that we didn't agree where it coming from. Adam
okay,
was the one that disobeyed.
Yeah.
no, no,
But
the
God said
disobedience, okay,
Eve
so
did,
so
but
let us
he
not go that. So
directed
we'll be
disobey.
looking at the role
By
of men
neglecting
in
his
society.
responsibility.
Okay, we look at the role of men in a society. Today, you want to become president. They want to become political leaders. They want to become everything. The argument now, no man should even put forth on that other argument. You feel everybody now we equal these days. The two of you are saying something different on the platform. I'm sure most of the women will say no. They wouldn't agree with you people. They will
Uh-huh.
feel that they are equality. Men and women, we all are equal.
So you see, it depends on the perspective and it depends on your mindset
Okay.
when you speak about equality.
Mm.
Because
Honest.
in the first place, when you understand what I said, the man has an authority and nobody can try fighting that because if you do that, you are on your own. The way God fixes it, that way will remain. Okay?
I agree with
But
you.
when a man, when I want a man, every man should understand the creativity, the ability that he has. God has given the exact same to a woman. That's why he didn't say, I'm going to bring your maid. He said, I'm going to bring you a helper or helpmate. The person
Yeah,
who
but the
will
helper
help you.
is not a me. It's not a me.
Patience. Let us look at the questions because look, before I bring back this comment, let me read the first comment that same person wrote Rahim. He says, after eating the apple, he also did not ask God for forgiveness, but shifted the blame to the woman.
And that's exactly
But
what
that's
happened
true.
here now. That
But
one
that's
man
true.
said it, that man or that woman. Okay.
I mean,
That man. You see it? That's exactly what happened. The woman was nowhere in the picture when the instruction was given. Okay.
oh my
And
goodness.
But you
after
know,
walking, the first thing he did, he said, God, I'm you. That
And
Adam
the
brought it
woman,
and the
to
woman you
Eve.
gave me, yeah, the woman you brought and said help me, she the one destroying
So
everything
that
that
the
I didn't
place
do.
we need to correct now.
yeah.
Let's not just talk. Let's help ourselves. That's the
Okay.
place we need to correct. We
So
said something in the beginning. Hold on 1 second. We said when a man takes his
when,
truthful place. He
Yes.
leads with clarity, with clear vision, precision, accuracy, ability to inspire
But
creativity, and he takes responsibility.
patience.
Until men
Jesse.
don't take the
Patient.
responsibility and
Yeah.
Patient.
know where they
I
went
think
wrong, they will
I
not
dealt with that
recover from
right.
that.
Patient. I
Yeah.
dealt with that right, and
Yeah.
you all will not deny that.
Okay.
The two of you, the way you're talking, said
Yeah.
there's no difference from Eve. Let me repeat that. Y'all guys
Thank
shop
you.
more women. Y'all want to do something, you can do it. Y'all can argue. Y'all can represent everything. Y'all can protect everything.
You
So
see,
sometimes
yeah.
the grand design for the man to maintain his home is innocent. There's no man who goes to find a wife that wouldn't want to take our wife home and provide and protect for her. But sometimes things become helter scatter because of this kind of a dominion relationship you want to take. Women want to be the one that will control everything. You are only there to, as a caretaker, as a helper.
Okay, can I say something to
So
what you said in the
I will
beginning?
also agree with other people that every man should take their rightful places in these homes, in society. But
You
hey,
see, this
you
is
the women,
Jason. You're
yeah,
saying something that is key to all of our men, and I
mm,
want us to highlight it a little bit, and then
yeah,
I will read what the guy got on the stream. You
okay,
said when you started talking, you said men are there to protect and provide. That
right,
was the instruction given to him. Okay,
yeah,
he
mhm,
Patience.
must protect. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
he must
I
protect
want us to,
and
to
provide. No, just one second.
explain. Yeah.
This man we are talking about,
mm,
your provision has got nothing to do with just the financial. I keep highlighting that because in this time and season we are in now, they are shifting. The
Mhm.
woman could be bringing finances in a home, but it doesn't mean that the woman controls the home. It doesn't mean that the woman have the blueprint. But if the man neglect because he not making the money, so he ain't get a blueprint anymore, he gave her the ability to be the landlord. Then so glad
patient,
it
let's be
be.
practical. That's why I'll come in. Patient, let's be practical.
But that's the reality. The man
Let's see
refusing.
a man. No, no, let's be practical about this thing. Let's see Adam saying that in a home, he doesn't have work to do. A woman get up in the morning and go and work and come back in the home
The
and come.
first thing, the
Let's
first thing is,
imagine how chaotic the home would be.
the
There's
first thing
nothing
is,
able to do
Adam is
about it.
already walking in error. He's supposed to be
It's very
working.
few women who will take those responsibilities.
Adam from the
He is
beginning, he
already
must be working
walking
before
in
he
error.
get any woman. No man should ever get married to any woman and he doesn't have the ability to take care of her.
No,
That is 100% wrong.
he's already
That's what
walking
he's
in
talking
error by
about.
sitting down home and want to collect the one
That is
paycheck. That
100%
is
wrong.
wrong.
Now, don't tell me that
This
something could
question
happen
can
in the
happen
process.
anytime. There can be
Something could
situation
happen in the
the man can
process.
be working and
People can
sometimes
be
that
working and
woman
lost their
is
job. I agree with that
That's a
100%.
different case.
That's why the woman was
Yeah.
made a helper.
Yes.
So
You
she
see?
stepped in that role to help her husband, but he does not
Exactly.
relinquish his authority to her.
Yeah.
okay. I
He
agree.
does not.
If
So
that's
the
how all
problem
women
is
are
him.
thinking, that would be fine in the world. You don't think so?
But
If
that's what we're
all women are
discussing
thinking like
this.
you
We need
do,
to discuss
that's
more of
fine.
this because that's the reality. I'm not taking sides for men or women. I'm not. You think I
Okay.
don't want to be in power? I don't want to be in authority. I know how much ability I have.
Okay.
But you can have this much and no further. Yeah, you know, a woman can be a president. You keep saying a woman want to be president. A woman can be a president for her whole country, but guess what? When she comes home, the president for her home is her
Let,
husband.
let you
Exactly.
It
yeah,
don't
beautiful.
change anything. That's the person she take out the cook, she take out all the things and go into the kitchen and make his meal. That's her king. She chooses him as a king. Even though she's leading everybody out there, it doesn't change it. So
Mhm.
the ability to rule people out there, the ability to express what God has put in you as a woman doesn't change anything. Your
Okay.
role, women equal right. People just got a complete rap mentality when it comes to, authority or power and all of that. It don't change anything. And when you're talking about authority, you see the difference there? Every man wants for every woman out there to respect him. It's wrong. The Bible said, submit to your own husband. He didn't say different man.
Hmm.
So the authority is only that man's going to have it over that woman. So a woman can go out there and be president. She can be anything. A woman has no limit to what she can be. But it doesn't change. She must know her role, and the man must know his role. So even if things change, they got married and he was making money, man was making money, he not making money today, and the woman making money. She taking that role because she is a helpmate. That's what she was created for. So any woman that don't understand that, she already got it wrong. And that's
Mhm.
why he should have a vision, he should have a blueprint to bring his family to the table.
Okay.
Exactly. Like the writer right there said, when I talk about preserving posterity, it was because God expected Adam to, continue his generation, to continue the legacy as, being responsible for the home, for his domain, for his kingdom. And when things went the other way around, God blamed Adam. And the word of God said it was because of man that sin entered the world, because of man. And through another man, grace had to come. God did
Exactly.
not say it was because of woman that sin entered the world. Because you were saying
It was
that,
because of one man, not
yes,
that man, one man.
one man because of Adam,
And it was because of another one
because
man.
of his failure to take his position
Yeah.
and reign as a king in his kingdom, he brought that upon mankind. And so this writer that texted, he said the Bible said it was because of one man sin, death came, and another man was reconciled with us with God. So he did not say woman. So let's take another writer for that person. That's Habib. He said covenant agreement was between God and Adam. It was not between Eve. God and Eve. It was between Adam. He said, Adam, this is the case. The fruit here, do not eat this fruit. And he expected Adam to pass it on. Just like when we were our parents, our father would say, nobody should come in this house after 7 o'clock. Everybody, oh, the Oba said nobody come here after 7. Everybody would, fall in line. So when you establish your your rules in your home, the rest of the people will follow. So after eating the fruit, they may say after eating the apple. I don't know why they keep calling the apple. God did not say apple. He said fruit. But anyway, after eating the apple, he also did not ask God for forgiveness for shifting blame. As usual, that's why they always do it, shifting blame on the women. The women this, the women that.
And you see
Oh,
that
it will happen.
the power of a leader, my sister, is when he can take responsibility.
That's
It's
why.
when he knows that he has limitations. It's when
Take
he knows that
blame.
he has weaknesses. We are
Mhm.
not claiming that men should be perfect. If men would just identify their role by knowing that they've gone astray, they've gone wrong one way or the other, that's the first way to start to bring back the families. And until this change, the nations of the earth are going to continue to plunge into the things that they are plunged into
Okay.
because it's the unit of the family that brings transformation to the nations.
Mhm.
But we do not have that anymore. The men have neglected our role of bringing sanity to their families.
Mm.
How many men sit with their boys and show them what it is to be a man? How many men do that? They will provide for you, they will buy all the clothes, buy all the food, but sit there and have a life conversation with them. How many men? How many men can say, yes, my father sat and did this with me? How many men? They have
Mm.
neglected that. They have neglected to know that they're supposed to impact the next generation. And you see, it's so unfair to some of the men now because they did not even have that in their foundation. So they don't even know. But one thing I know for sure is that everything that we have limit of, when we have a connection with God, all things are possible. That is the whole idea at the end of the day. When we connect with God, we will have the mind of God, we'll have the plan of God, we'll have the blueprint of God, we'll have understanding of it. And that way we are able to put our lives in order.
Mm.
Then we can be able to help our next generation and leave the legacy, so that our successor will have something to start from. The Bible says about a unbeliever. What's the scripture? How it says it again? A man who cannot provide for his home is worse than an infidel. You know what I mean? That
Mm.
the Bible says so. So it is so
But my
wrong.
argument on this platform is not to give support to any man who
No, we
negate
know
his
you are trying to strike a
responsibility.
balance, except
Yeah,
that
so
you are
what I'm
laying
saying to you,
blame.
what I'm saying on this platform is that there are reasons why things get scattered. There are reasons why things happen. There are reasons why society is falling apart. So if we're looking at the role and responsibility of men as the topic is being discussed, we should also note what are the implications of men playing a role in the family.
Ricky, can you hear you?
All right. Sorry, there's some interruption. There's some call that was coming in. All right. So that responsibility that we all have as men must be rightly respected by women in all categories. But we can only sit on this platform and discuss the issues. But we know that the global problem that we all face today is that balance, to strike the balance between what the role of a woman should be or is and the role of a man. And because of these problems, society is falling apart. And like you said, it's going to be very difficult because people are legislating today. Imagine today the world, we're not discussing with man and woman, Adam and Eve. We are discussing Adam and Adam. Don't also forget that. Even though it's not biblical, but people are doing these things. And that's how society is moving. You dare to go and talk about, that being some something that is outside of God's realm, something that God does not command. No, no, no. There are legislation that support this attitude. So we see things from a different perspective. Even though we're not discussing the general gender issues before talking about the role, but we're looking at society in general. What are some of the causes? Now, the issue of husband and wife is a serious issue. Put the issue on the card and discuss it. What are the response? What are the causes of divorce today? Bulk of it starts from this very issue, role and responsibility. This will be argument. Some women will not even want to submit to their husbands. Now, you say that again, that's another issue. Somebody will say, no, submit will be defined in some other context. But Adam was given a command, which I agree with your explanation. Adam had that, God spoke to Adam to keep that garden. But I hope that Eve would have just, consulted the husband. And Eve would say, you know why? I have somebody giving me this thing. What can we do about it? Had it been that way, Adam probably would have resisted. He said, look, we had to follow God's command. We shouldn't eat this thing. But also don't forget, and I mean, it seems to be a laughter, but it's a very serious thing, the
Yes,
influence that
yes.
women have. So because of those things, it's not just men doesn't have blueprint. Every man wants to take it as wife and cherish. But something, what goes wrong? Let's look at it. What goes wrong? Before things fall apart. A man will see a young woman and know, I love you, I want to marry you. You take that woman home and you're doing everything you can, struggling to make team that grand design you have. Who's the man in this world that didn't grow up to find a wife and to marry and sit down and have a close discussion and keep that union so fruitful? But what are some of the problems? Why sometimes people start good relationships and sometimes just fall apart? What are some of the causes? Or what are the standing causes of these things? It's disobedience. In fact, and it's a real thing. Whether you were working before, you don't get work sometime. Why all of this disrespect? Let's think about it. There's nothing that is not strange to the two of you. You are reading the Bible and counseling people, right? Tell me some of the issues. The bigger issue that stands today is disobedience. So Adam, yes, had the full responsibility. Today, men should have the responsibility to keep their home. Every man should be able to provide for his home.
So,
When you don't have it, you should find means. You find something that work. If it means you go and throw cartoon, you must go and do it to provide for your home.
yep.
If you don't have means, and I
There's
agree, now
dignity in
today,
labor.
like the children that you raise, the children, yes, we all should be responsible to train the children how to grow up. But if you have sometimes family split and the woman want to take the children along, sometimes there's other lawsuit and there's a way for court to define who's supposed to have the child and all of those stuff come in. A man say no. In fact, in today's America, no man want to raise his voice so hard to stress the importance of his duty.
Why?
A woman will even call police and say, look, you know why this man is trying to harass me or put me under duress, or a lot of things will be said, right?
If the
In
foundation be
Africa,
destroyed, what can the
Africans
righteous
want to
do?
maintain all Africans, the kings that you make measure of, African kings, African men want to control their destiny, want to control their powers, their surrounding. But sometimes it's brutal, and I don't support that. Want to exercise that God-given right. So look, you know why I control this home. Sometimes it turns brutal, and which I disagree with. But these are factors that are very serious in relationship. So as we discuss the role of man in maintaining that grand design, we should always bear in mind a man living by himself decides everything. He makes his decision. He keeps his house clean. He does whatever he wants to do. But he's fine. He's saying, I can't be alone. Maybe it's not God that sent him, but he goes out there and find a wife. And he try to bring the wife home. From there, something start to happen. Maybe they start on a good note. As you go on, conversation start changing. Somebody want to take out the phone and call, and maybe because of that, they want to go in the bathroom and make a phone call.
So,
Husband said, no, as long as we're together, we are one. Let's do everything as we're supposed to do. Let's be open to one another. Let's do everything. Somebody said, those are my phone here, that's my privacy. The word privacy comes in, and that's modern life, right? A woman has a privacy. She must be respected in that manner. Which I agree, every woman needs freedom. But if a woman
regarding what you
realizes
were
that you
saying,
guys are discussing, that would be very important. If every woman just got to believe what you have said, no matter how educated you are, no matter what job you're doing, know fully well that a man is in your life because why? He has the grand design. Then all will fall in place.
so when a woman
But I
knows
don't think
that,
that's how the world is today.
when a woman knows that, and a man doesn't know that, that is the major problem. Because when a man knows that, the woman has got no choice but to follow. Because you see, the foundation you were talking, the premise you were laying, it starts with the foundation. When you're finding a wife, what are the rules, the ground rules you lie down before this woman? What are your expectations? How did you start the relationship? How did you build the building of? You cannot build the foundation 40 and you reach or you say you want our story building. It can work. That's why it's breaking down. The architect tell you you must first thing have a design. You must have the plan. You must have the vision. Then you how you look for the money, how you will invest into it, portion by portion. So when you get up there, you cannot be putting particular structure that cannot hold the foundation. So that the reason why the woman calling the police, the woman doing this, the woman doing that, because in the beginning, you focus your mind on maybe just the physical part of the woman. You were attracted to certain things, and that is what you ran with. You did not remember that you and the woman going to go down the road for the rest of your lives. She's going to be the mother of your children, the next generation. So you put a plan down, you have a plan. No woman will tell no woman to follow any man that does not have a plan. He must give you that plan from day one because you are the helper. So the day he going astray, he said, but I was not a plan, brother. You say this is the plan. This is the way we're supposed to go. You call him back to order, you help him. The woman role is there, and that's why we said we didn't want to mix the two of them on the same place because then we will go into hauling and pulling. But to establish the man authority, establish his place, because we will come back to be able to talk about the woman's role, okay? And then we don't want to tie it in, with the man. So then we can also come back and put the two together that we can say who got what and who ain't got what. So it's a whole different thing. But we don't just want to have a conversation. We want people to really be able to grasp onto their responsibility. People look at the faults, their weaknesses, and see how they can build from there and move on. That we are speaking there doesn't mean we do not have our lapses, we do not have our faults, we do not have our shortcomings. We all have. Because the Bible said none is righteous, but only through Christ Jesus. So we didn't come to say we got yardstick to tell everybody what to do, how to do. We are quoting from the word of God. What did God say? What did he expect us to do? We must establish that, accept that. If we cannot establish what God said, we're not going anywhere. We'll remain in this place for a very long time. Where men will refuse to exert, they only want to exert the authority to announce that, do you know I'm a man? Yeah, I have the authority. You don't even have to say that word if you have done your homework. You don't have to say that word. You can go in homes. Men who have done their homework, they don't say those words. Everybody fall in line. And he
Exactly.
has a blueprint that everybody understand. He pay attention. He know that he own a lifetime investment there. That's his kingdom. So he makes sure he guided. And
Amen.
no king should be seen as a weak king.
Mm. Amen.
Okay.
This was a wonderful discussion, good discussion. And men,
So
If and if.
That's a
we'll come back here to discuss
that's a word for you tonight.
to
So
establish
hold
the
on.
other side, the
Take
women.
hold of your responsibility.
Yeah.
The man rule in your kingdom, reign in your kingdom, and be
Yes,
partner with God.
I have learned from the two of you that I'm a king. I'm
Of course, you are.
the I have to
Hey man,
take
we didn't
grand
get to read
design
a
of
scripture.
my
Oh.
own
Let me
plan,
read it
right?
quick. Let me do that closing statement to tell you that you are a king. Quickly.
I'm the king. I'm the king, right?
In your home,
You are
yes.
the
So
king.
yeah, honestly, I want to join the two ladies here. I think they have emphasized enough. I was just on the other side to see how we can have a balanced discussion. But I agree with them that every man should, treat women with all respect and knowing fully well that they have a responsibility. And that responsibility should go in controlling the home and not controlling the home in a very negative sense, no. But there must be agreement in whatever you design for a home so that the two of you can live in one accord. I think that's the so much purpose for which people, bound to live together. In the absence of that, we also think on the larger scale society, and I feel that everyone in society must be able to realize that if we don't understand the strength or the biblical foundation of how society is supposed to run, we're going to see more problem than ever before in this world.
Yeah.
So indeed, this has been a wonderful discussion, and I don't know how you're going to end it up, but I think yeah, it was good.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I think this
I
is
just want to read one or two comments here before we go. Deborah said, "Good evening, everyone," and Harris said, "Good evening." Also, Ekina, Ekina said, "James, please explain why you didn't want to agree to these ladies." But at the end of the day, Ekina, James finally, he said he agreed with us, but he wanted to strike a balance. So because of the balance, he had to be on the other side. So, but he he agreed. He agreed. So Jonathan is saying here that a strong king is dependent on the strong queen. That is his backbone in every manner. Of course, behind every wonderful, good man and successful man, powerful man, there's a woman that carry the vision along with the man. So that is absolutely correct. And Deborah said, I came on late, man. Well, anyway, next time, Deborah, we will be here. And
we
who
will.
knows? Yes, next Sunday. This is the Family Life platform. This is not, I mean, it's on 2A tonight, Family Life platform. We are hosting a Family Life platform tonight. So this has been a wonderful discussion. Great
Okay.
topic, Deborah says. Great topic. Thanks, guys. So that's it. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, patience, for having us, to be part of this discussion tonight. And we were also glad to be hosting you on the 2A radio and television.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And this is not the last of this topic. We're definitely going to come back and talk about the role of a woman. And when we're talking about it, we don't want to mix our words, not because we are women, but reason why we started with men, because men are first. Okay, they were the first one that was called and created. So it's only right that we speak about them first and let them know their place and take their place. And we cannot amount to everything, if the men don't ready to display. That's just the truth. Because for you to manifest as a woman, for you to be able to really do the things that you are called to do, you must have a man that is there for you, leading you. All these women that say, "Oh, you don't need a man." That's not how God designed it. That's not true. They're not telling you the truth because when they are in a cause, yeah, you can provide for yourself, you can eat, you don't need anybody to provide for yourself. But it's not just about provision because God made provision for all of us to be able to create wealth. But it's about having companions, about having somebody you can look up to, somebody who can help you, direct you, lead you. It's a place of communion. That is the whole idea. If you cannot have a man in your life, how will you feel? Because the relationship with God and man, he always compare it to marriage. So there's nothing we can do about that. We all need somebody to lean on. Jihad men need us as well. As much as he has all the authority that were given to him, okay, the final authority, not all the authority because women do have, but he still needs a woman. Until he have a woman, he is not complete. Yeah, so that is what we have to say. Thank you so much for listening. Share the video, even though we are to the end of it right now, but you can still share. There will be so many people out there who need.
Oh, my goodness.